Are you passionate about the well-being of the young minds in our community? Do you believe in creating an environment where every student thrives academically and emotionally? Well, look no further than Mindful Minute, Navigating Mental Health with Julie and Jess. This podcast is dedicated to student mental health, proudly brought to you by the Windham School District. In each episode, your hosts, Julie Lichtmann, Director of School Counseling, and Jess Carleton, High School Mental Health Counselor, sit down with the visionaries behind the mental health initiatives shaping our schools. Learn about the world of student well-being as your hosts share experiences, strategies, and invaluable perspectives on nurturing the mental health of our students.
Welcome to the first episode of Mindful Minute with Jess and Julie. I'm Julie Lichtmann. I'm the Director of School Counseling. This is my 25th year here in Windham. The reason we are coming to you today is to discuss mental health and how it affects our students, our staff, our community. And we really began thinking a lot about mental health and making people aware of the struggles that people go through with mental health. And so we applied for a grant for a radio station so we could do podcasts like this. We could do public service announcements. And we were able to get funding and come up with a radio station. And so now we're going to have monthly installments of the Mindful Minute. And I wanted to introduce my co-host. This is Jess Carleton.
Hi, I'm Jess Carleton. I am the mental health counselor at Windham High School. I have been working at Windham High School for the last 13 years, supporting students and families throughout the district. I'm really excited to be a part of this podcast and share a lot of resources in our community and some feedback on how we can support students and their families regarding a healthy well-being.
Today's podcast is going to focus on goal setting. Really setting realistic goals and obtainable goals. And I think some of the topics that are within this goal setting is breaking down the goals, balancing ambition and self-compassion, adapting goals to changing circumstances, celebrating progress, setting boundaries, and then mindfulness and reflection. And I think we'll do a little bit of mindfulness and reflection throughout every podcast that we do.
Mindfulness is a really important technique to use when talking about mental health. It's something that is really well regarded in the mental health community. Like Julie said, we'll be talking about goals, and I think it's a new year, so it's really important. People right away say new year, new mindset. We want to create goals. We want to have New Year's resolutions. But really, when we talk about goals, we want to talk about setting a goal that's achievable, setting a goal that's meaningful, and looking at something that you can invest time into and something that's going to really benefit your overall well-being. So there's a lot of different goals that you can set, a lot of different types of goals, and a lot of different ways to attain those goals. So we'll talk a lot about the importance of goal setting and how you can manage developing goals that are attainable.
I think a big problem that we come across is that we set goals that are unrealistic. And I know I've done it for years and years. And I set a goal and I'm like, I'm going to do this. And I don't even know how I'm going to obtain that. So then you kind of lose momentum. You set a goal, it's unobtainable, and then you think, oh my gosh, here I am, and I just come into a spiral. So how do I set a goal that I know I can obtain? Not one that, okay, I can get that done in one day, but one that's more obtainable throughout the month.
Well, when I think about goals, I really think about, like you're saying, like what is the bigger picture, but also what are those smaller pieces that are going to get me there? And then if I do get off track, how can I accept that day as a loss, accept that week as a loss, and then get back on track? So how do I keep that momentum going? I think really it's about a practice of using a mindfulness state of mind, practicing how do I stay present in the moment? How do I find value in those things? And really knowing yourself and utilizing your support system to kind of stay on task with your goals.
So I think what I do is if I almost add more stress to myself because I have to make this goal, and what if I don't make this goal? And then the other thing I will do is if I set my goal and then I don't do it my first day, I'm thinking, well, there goes my goal. I didn't make it. So then I probably should scrap the whole idea. And I'm trying to say, you know what, you're not alone when you are setting goals and you might have a slip up. It doesn't mean the whole day's gone. It doesn't mean the whole month's gone. I think you just pick yourself up and start again.
Yeah, I think it speaks to that balancing ambition and self-compassion, right? Understanding that we all have off days, and that doesn't mean that you have to call everything a loss. So being compassionate with yourself and saying, you know what, this is something that is really important to me. I'm going to get back on there and I'm going to give it another try. And then also ensuring that you stay ambitious, like you stay committed, you stay invested in what you want to see the change to be. And the change we're talking about in the goals could be reducing your stress, being more present, being more available to the people in your life. I think those things are important and attainable goals that can really help support your emotional and overall well-being.
I think what we need to remember is to be kind to ourselves. Oftentimes we kind of beat ourselves up, and the self-talk that we say to ourselves is can be harmful, and it can be really can really bring you down. I always go back to when I say this to my best friend. You would never say that to your best friend. So why do we talk to ourselves that way?
I know, I hear you. I think that's definitely an important mindset and perspective to take, to think about that is, if I wouldn't treat my most valuable person in my life this way, why am I treating myself that way? And really it's, important to utilize that strategy and think about it, because the way we think impacts the way we feel, which impacts the way we behave. So a lot of times when we talk about your well-being, your inner narrative really drives that. What you're saying about yourself and what you're saying to yourself drives how you feel about yourself, which then results in how you behave. So I think that that's really important mindset, is to give yourself the benefit of the doubt and really nurture your inner dialogue and be mindful of how you talk about yourself to yourself, because we all do it.
And I think you need to maintain flexibility as well. If you have flexibility in goal setting, it's not that you are changing the goal while the mark is moving, but you do have to be flexible. You have to look at changing circumstances around you and kind of be adaptable to those changes.
Yeah, definitely. Flexibility is so key, right? Because if we put the pressure on ourselves to attain this goal and every day we have to hyperfixate on that, it's just making the situation more stressful. So it's about just being present and being mindful about where you're at in this progress and staying committed. I think incorporating self-care is so important, and self-care is different for different people, right? I think self-care can be disconnecting from technology. Self-care could be going and getting a massage, but that's not always what it is. Maybe setting healthy boundaries is your self-care. And I think that really opening up what we view as self-care and really honoring what takes care of us and makes us feel good is self-care.
And I think a lot of times people will say, well, if I think about myself first, then I'm being selfish. And I don't think that has anything to do with being selfish. It really is. If you can't take care of yourself first, how are you going to help anybody else? So really just be kind to yourself. And I think you'll hear that theme throughout all of our podcasts, is being kind to yourself. And it sounds so silly, but you need reminding. It's almost like, remember to breathe. Of course, we do that automatically, but we don't always automatically be kind to ourselves. So really have that flexibility when you're setting goals and really be mindful. And so we want to get you in the habit of becoming mindful every single day. And it might be, take time to smell the roses is the easiest way I could describe like mindfulness. If you just take a few minutes to yourself each day, it will get easier and easier.
Julie, when you say that, I think of the airplane analogy right away, right? You have to make sure that you put that mask on before you put it for yourself, before you put it on the person sitting next to you. And it's such an important lesson that we sometimes forget. We forget the importance of taking care of ourselves before we can support those around us.
I think it's important also to celebrate the little victories. So we set a goal, say, for a month. Every goal, as Jess said, every person has self-care that's different to everyone. And I think the same goes for progress and flexibility in goal setting. So if you set a goal and say, I'm going to do this in 1 month, it may take you 6 weeks. It may take you 8 weeks. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that you're less than anybody else. It just means that you're on a different path, and that's okay. So then look at the little celebrations. Who wants to wait 6 weeks before they can applaud themselves or say, you know what, I did really well this past week. Take it day by day. If you have celebrate a little success each day, then it makes it easier, and it makes it, maybe the next time you go 3 days and then you celebrate a success. But you really need to celebrate the small victories and acknowledge any progress that you're making.
Yeah. And everybody has different goals, small goals, big goals, and utilize the people around you. The one thing I can say about Wyndham that I say to anybody that asks me about where I work is this is a community that is very supportive. It is a community that is very kind. So I think that if we are facing challenges ourselves, we can lean on those around us. So there's a lot of people, there's a lot of resources in this community to help support one another to attain their goals and utilizing your community. There are great resources here within the school district. There are great resources within the community regarding mental health and well-being. And I think if you utilize those resources around us, you can only improve your goal and make things a little bit easier. I know last year, Julie and I met with a few different providers in the area, and we spoke with them about how we can support mental health during Mental Health Awareness Month last May. And there are a lot of great organizations in this community and surrounding this community that can help support people. And so utilizing them is only going to be a benefit.
I think you really make a really good point about asking for help, and looking for those resources. I think oftentimes people see that as I can't do it on my own, and I think less of myself because I had to ask for help. You're actually a stronger person when you do ask for help, and I know that that's not always easy, and that's why you have mental health counselors in every building in the school district. That's why we have school counselors. We are here to help you. And I always tell all the students that I speak to, don't suffer in silence. If something's troubling you, you don't know where to begin, we are here to help you. A trusted adult. That's why we really are encouraging all the advisory teachers to do one trusted adult activities, so you have somebody in the school that you could go to. Your parents are a perfect example. Hopefully, most of you can turn to your parents or a trusted adult in your life. I think another obstacle that we kind of get into is setting boundaries. And I think setting appropriate boundaries in goal setting is very difficult for a lot of people. I also think you had mentioned how important our community is. And the community we are in this together. We have more and more community members that always are calling us and saying, how can I help, support the students here at Wyndham High School or in the Wyndham School District? The community really wants to help you achieve your goals. They want to connect. And I think that when you boil down mental health, you really need connectedness, and you really, whether it be with friends or with a trusted adult, a sense of belonging, a sense of connecting with others will help make this burden so much less.
Yeah. And I think about, we've used the word mindful a lot, and really isn't a reflective practice of being mindful in a state of well-being and things like that. And I think about our initiative in the last year to roll out the Mindful Minute in every school. Every month on the second Monday, there is an activity for being present and being mindful that's rolled out school-wide across the district. And really that strategy, that tool is something that we want to emphasize as an important lesson for students and staff to utilize. And I think that's really a big part of our mission, is making sure that people are utilizing healthy strategies, that they are identifying strong supports, and they're setting attainable goals.
And remember that you're not alone, and that if you take day by day, you will get through this, and that we can help anyone wherever they are struggling. And if you just be kind to yourself first, and then you can be kind to others. So if you could practice the Mindful Minute, that would be really helpful. And if you have any questions or any concerns, hopefully you will come to the school counseling department. You can ask for Mrs. Carleton. We have Mrs. Miller-Johnson. So many.
Thank you so much, Julie. I'm excited to be a part of this. I'm really excited to support getting more information around mental health awareness out to our community. And like Julie had said, I just can't emphasize the community here. What a great staff we have. We have mental health counselors in every building. We have school counselors in every building that are a great resource to every student. Every student's identified with a school counselor and has that support person. Throughout our middle and high school, they also have your advisors and your trusted teachers. There are so many people to utilize, and we really want to make sure that we emphasize that. Use your adults. They are here to help support you.
And remember, as we wrap up today's podcast, let the message of mindfulness guide you in a positive way. Until next time, have a mindful minute.